it'll just show you just some examples of what different changelings might have looked like. There's, you know, a dozen or so throughout the course of the document.
Okay. I just didn't realize what they were connected to, I guess.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. You can see sometimes they're very skinny, sometimes they're more strong, sometimes they're more corpulent. You guys have actually done a favor for a changeling that has a stall in the goblin market who's an actual mermaid. She's her keeper kidnapped her and kept her in a water environment, and she eventually developed a tail in place of legs. And then when she escaped, she was struck with this whole like, what do I do now? I can't walk around. And so she made her home in the local goblin market, and she gets around with a wheelchair with a blanket over her tail and stuff. But you guys did her a favor and found her a locket that allows her to take human legs for like an hour a day. And so she's very, very grateful to you for that. Her name's Melusine.
Oh, I love that. So she's like an ambulatory wheelchair user.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do in just a sec here is I'm going to like do the, hi, I'm Jess Hartley, this is who we are. And what I'd love for you guys to do when I go around is I'd love for you to introduce yourself and your character and tell me like, tell me and the other people that are watching eventually, what their court is and what their seeming and kith are, because their kith is like a subdivision of their seeming. So you have Marlowe is a wizened soldier. So there are other wizened types, but he happens to be a soldier of the wizened and that kind of thing.
So
and
quick
then,
question.
Yeah.
If the kith for Alex is draconic, does that mean anything about my seeming? Do I look draconic?
You definitely can. There are some, and that's one of the cool things about Changeling is you can really create your appearance as suits you. I mean, you're not going to be a 40-foot long smog, but you could really easily be a kind of, what do they call them in D&D? Like a tiefling looking dragonborn, or you could just be a very, very human looking person with like reptilian slits in your eyes and, like a double row of dragon teeth. Or you could look like your skin was metallic, like a gold dragon or that kind of thing. So there's lots of different ways that you can take it, and just have fun with it. Like, tell me what you think suits the character that you want to be playing for the next couple hours. Okay, so we all ready for that then?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Jess Hartley, and I'm going to be running your Changeling the Lost session this evening. For the last 20 years or so, I have been a professional writer, editor, and game developer in the tabletop gaming world, and it was one of my highest pleasures to be able to help create the game Changeling the Lost. One of the things that I most love about bringing this game here and sharing it with therapists and other mental health professionals is that I think that it really gives us an opportunity to look at characters, and by looking at characters also to look at people in a slightly different way than traditional D&D analog tabletop role-playing games do. As you guys know from playing D&D, and most D&D analogs, your character's kind of defined by their race and their class. So your race is what you were born into, who your people were, and your class is what you learned to do with it afterwards. And if you think about it, that's kind of how most of, at least American society, tends to look at people. You have your race or your socioeconomic class, who your people were that you came from, and then you have what you did with yourself after that. Did you go to school? Did you go to college? Did you get this kind of a job? That kind of thing. And that's perfectly valid, but it's not the only way to look at people, and it's sometimes not the best way to look at people, in my opinion. In Changeling, the axes that we have for our characters are their seeming and kith and their court, which kind of relates to what happened to them, what trauma they experienced and how that changed them. And then their court is an analog to how did that color their perspective about dealing with trauma. So you might have a summer courtier whose perspective is, I was hurt, I was victimized, now I'm never going to be like that. I'm going to be tough, I'm going to be abrasive, I'm going to keep everybody away from me, I'm going to look at the world through wrath-colored glasses. Or you could have it from the eyes of the autumn court, which says, I am partly responsible for the things that happened to me because I was not wary enough. I did not protect myself enough. So now I'm going to be so paranoid and hypersensitive and aware of any possibility of harm coming to me that I'm never going to let that happen again. So by giving us that different access, I think it gives us some opportunities to look at characters and through our characters look at people in slightly different way. The nice thing about courts is that your courts can change as you're a changeling, and you can learn different techniques for dealing with the things that have happened to you and dealing with your path forward, just like changelings can change courts. So that's why I love Lost, and that's why I'm so happy about bringing it to you guys as mental health professionals. I would love it, now that you guys have all had a chance to pick out your pre-generated characters, if you guys would all take turns just letting me know who you are and what character you're playing, anything about that character that you think your fellow players might want to know about before we get started on the session. And then when we're done with that, we'll get started with the first little scenario. Would anyone in particular like to go first? I'm going to start calling on names just like a teacher.
Sure, I'll go.
Awesome, Adam.
The doctors called it post-traumatic retrograde amnesia. I don't even know what that means. But when I came back from the other side of Henge, I had no memory of what happened to me and how it got me there. I know the people who helped me escape. They were kind, and I keep in touch. I know my name is Ash. I know that ash is a species of tree that belongs to lilacs and olives. I have ash-colored skin and lilac eyes. I know that I love plants, and I know that I hope to find what I lost one day. The Fae, I know they keep memories, sometimes in little baubles and bits and bends and pails somewhere, but sometime those will be mine, right? Knowledge is power, and I know I never want that to happen to me again. I am a woodblood kith of the Winter Court. I kind of worked that into that whole
That was
monologue.
great. That was great. I was like, going right along. I want to hear the whole Ash story now, and I invented them. Chad, did you want to go next?
Sure.
I like that deer in the headlights look, and then
Sure. My name is Alex. I'm from the Summer Court. Seeming is fairest, and kith is draconic. I look like a gold dragonborn with short horns. I'm sorry, copper dragonborn with short horns. And my seeming is I'm a 5'10" Asian guy who's quietly angry. Looks like he always has a sunburn, which is the copper skin, and always has messy hair, which is the horns sticking up. He wears a black kung fu cotton outfit in homage to Bruce Lee and excellence in ability, with a screen printed picture of Bobby Fischer on the back, which is an homage to I will only fight the battles I want to, and don't you dare try and make me do something more.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Oh.
That's wonderful. Love it. Love that take on Alex. Anders, did you want to go next?
I was actually gonna hold off.
Okay. Jeff, did you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm playing Marlowe. Marlowe is from the Summer Court. He's a wizened seeming, and he's a soldier with his kith, and emphasis on the soldier. Don't any of you forget it. I don't look like a soldier. He's tall and lanky, and he's always sort of mechanically inclined, so people always wanted to fix stuff. But he's the first to let you know he's got a history of kicking butt. And unlike the rest of you that escaped from your masters, Marlowe was quote unquote set free against his will and would like to perhaps get back to the fight to prove himself again.
That's very nice. Dan, did you want to go next?
Sure. So I'm playing as Pax, a seeming fairest and the spring court and flowering kith. And Pax, I imagine like a Jim Morrison character from The Doors with a lizard eye on one side, and maybe lizard fingers, but very overly philosophical all the time, and just kind of can work his way, kind of comes out smelling like roses and whatever the situation is, and just wants to partake in whatever it may be. And feel like that the more I do that, the more I'm able to reclaim my own essence that was taken from me during my durance.
And my turn.
Yeah.
Oh, me? I'm not too important, but if I have to, James Gray used to be a gamer, was the best healer probably out there. I thought anyway. It's good enough to get the attention of the wrong people, I guess. So I'm a wizened chirurgeon by seeming and kith. I am the Court of Autumn. I've spent longer than I care to recount doing what I did best, healing others and trying to make sure that the good guys won. And it took a toll. As a result, my main is I kind of don't have. I have a featureless kind of body, but not a little sallow, but not too much. White eyes, but very dark, like bags around the eyes, but covered in scars. And yeah, I definitely am not always there because I'm thinking and trying to part plan, part not get lost in my own memories. And I'm just doing my best to make sure that no one else has to go through what I have and make sure that what needs to happen happens.
Good. Very cool. Okay, so you guys are all part of a motley, which is a changeling term for a small group of individuals who've come together and sworn sacred promises to for a particular purpose. It can be, motleys can look anything from a family to a gang to a business, a military squad, basically any kind of grouping of changelings that get together for a particular purpose. Can form a motley. And you're bound together by this promise, this oath that you have all swore to each other, basically to watch out for each other, not allow one of your fellows to be harmed while you have the capacity of stopping it. That kind of just kind of a general, I'll look out for you, you look out for me. And you would know as changelings that these pledges, as these supernatural promises are made, are kind of the foundation upon which changeling society works. Coming from people who have all dealt with someone as tricksy and powerful as the true Fae, as your keepers were, you're very, very hesitant to trust each other based on just, circumstance or that kind of thing. So quite often changelings will lock each other into these vows to be able to absolutely ascertain that they can be trusted, because they know that while making these promises to each other can offer benefits, like if you promise to protect one of your motley mates with your physical strength, it may give you a bonus to that physical strength, especially in circumstances where you're protecting your motley. But the other side of that is that if you break it, you know that disaster will follow, and not the disaster that comes from a changeling trying to hunt you down and get revenge. This disaster is from the weird, which is the supernatural kind of force that gives changelings their power, and it's all wrapped up with fates and destiny and that sort of thing. And you know that your literal luck can turn bad and end up in like car accidents and things like that don't seem to have anything to do with you breaking the promise, but you ticked off the weird. So you guys know that you can all trust each other because you've undergone these vows to each other. But you may be tempted not to feel quite as trusting to other individuals. The exception for that, there is a note that you guys find in your mailbox. You've got a little apartment. Not all of you stay here full time. You kind of call it the Motley House, but it's where you come together to hang out. And some of you are probably living here because you don't have jobs in the outside world and it's inexpensive to keep up and that sort of thing. There's a missive that comes to you from a woman who you've done some favors for in the past named Melusine. And you know it's from Melusine because the parchment that it comes on is like this light green color and it smells like salt water. The ink is a beautiful marine color with a very fancy calligraphy, and it asks you to come to her stall. It says that she has need, she has a favor to ask. You would know that she has a stall in the local goblin market, which is located in the hedge. And the hedge is, if the human world is here and the world of the true Fae, Arcadia, is here, the space between them is filled with and separated by the hedge, which is a supernatural, ongoing, psychosomatic, psycho-influenced labyrinth of living vines and thorns and brambles. There are paths through it called trods that are semi-safe. They're the places that people have gone most often from one location to another. And those have been kind of cemented in place by the sheer will of so many people going places on them. But you know that the minute that you step off of them or go in a different direction, it's kind of you against the hedge in terms of which one has the stronger psyche to get where you're going. So in the hedge, there are these places called hollows, and that are essentially kind of like a dead end trod. They're places where people have infused enough of their essence and their concentration and their will that they've kind of pushed back the hedge a little bit to kind of create a clearing. These can be as small as like a little one-room cave that someone can carve out so they have a safe sanctuary to hide in. They can be as big as a small, like a hut with a little clearing around it. There's even some that are large enough to act as like almost a small village. And the one that the Goblin Market is in is similar to that. It's probably a permanent home to maybe 50 individuals, and swells bigger than that when they have special events and sales and things like that going on, or other things that are happening in the hedge that bring extra people into the area. And that's where Melusine's shop is. How would you like to respond to this letter you've gotten?
Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, it's a no-brainer. She's always helped us. Let's go.
Okay.
I
This
remember
sounds
her.
like work. I'm not sure I'm up for work today.
She's always got something interesting, dude. You know that's true.
I'll go with the flow. Okay.
All right.
She
Well,
actually
all
is.
together,
She actually is an information broker, so that may be of interest to your characters as well. Okay, so unless Pax is going to stay behind or anyone else is going to stay behind, the easiest way for you guys to get into the hedge is to go through an established gateway. You can theoretically you can open a gateway at on anything that is big enough for you to pass through it. So a doorway, even like a full-length mirror or something like that has a semblance of an opening. You would press your hand against it, spend a point of glamour, and basically demand that it let you through. The disadvantage to opening a new gateway is you don't know exactly where in the hedge it's going to open up. And also, once you've opened a gateway, it always remains potentially reopenable from the outside in. So if you take your bedroom closet and turn it into a gateway into the hedge, for the rest of eternity, you kind of got to worry about what else might be on the other side of that, using it to come back in. But you guys do know that there is a big gateway out in Central Park, the Central Park in your town. It's a big iron archway that has hedges on either side of it. In the real world, it just separates two of the areas. It's pretty much just a decoration, but you do know that it's a place that opens up very close to the goblin market that Melusine's shop is at. So that's one option of how you might want to get through there, or two options, I guess: opening a new gateway and going to an established one. Which seems more appealing to you?
Is it dangerous at all to use the Central Park one? Have we had any problems with it in the past?
No, the only problem you've had with it in the past is at one point, one of the other ogres in town, one of the other changelings, decided that he was going to start a business charging people for glamour to go through that gate. But you guys managed to basically outwit him and send him off, and he hasn't shown back up there since
Sounds
then.
like us. All right.
Yep.
Let's go Central Park, everybody.
Okay. It's only about a 10-minute walk from your apartment. It's not a big deal. There's some people in the park, but you're very fortunate. None of them seem to be right near where you are. You have had circumstances in the past where you've gone to use the Central Park Gateway and there's been like a young family picnicking in front of it, and you had to do some finagling with turning on the sprinkler systems to encourage them to wander away so that you could get back to the gateway. But at this point, you're very lucky. There's a birthday party going on down at one end of the park. There's a bunch of families down there and a barbecue and that kind of thing. But it's around a corner from where you guys are. You shouldn't run into any problems opening up this gateway. So who would like to step forward and actually do the opening? Fantastic. So Ash, they step up to this big metal gateway. It's probably 10 foot tall, maybe 12 foot tall at the apex. It's big enough that all five of you could theoretically walk through at the same time, although there's no particular reason that you should. And Ash presses his hand up against the stone that forms the base of the metal arch. And you can see him concentrate. You can see them concentrating for a minute, and there's a little bit of a shimmer that you've come to recognize as the expenditure of glamour. And instead of looking through this and seeing, the birthday party down the hallway and the duck pond and that kind of thing that you were seeing through it before, now what you see is green vines. Like there's a little pathway going forward from as if it started right here at the arch, but there are the thickest blackberry brambles you can ever imagine seeing. And they're probably stretch up 15, 20 feet. And it's obvious that even in this area, there's the occasional like tendril that's breaching out across the trod. So there's definitely like a vitality and almost an intelligence to the vines and the brambles in this area. There's nothing stopping you from passing through at this point, and you know that this is how you've come in the past. Would you like to pass through?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. In the distance, you can hear the sounds of a large group of people having a good time. It doesn't sound so much like a party as much as just a lot of voices, a lot of bargaining going on. There's like a violin fiddle kind of music coming from just down and around the corner from where you guys are, that in the area that you know will lead you to the goblin market. And as you follow this little trod, it's maybe a 4 or 5 minute walk till you get to the point where you turn the corner and you can actually see the market laid out in front of you. And there are 2 big archways that kind of designate each end of the main street of the market. You can tell there's some other buildings behind the main street, but not much. It's kind of a one street village. There are a bizarre combination of shops, everything from what looks like a rustic, like pre-industrial version of the 10 by 10 pop-up tents. You know, they're basically just a framework with some cloth over them that can be broken down and taken with someone really easily. There's a couple of what looks like teepees or wigwams. There's some buildings where the bottom half, like up to about waist high, is made out of cobble built, but then the upper halves are put up with wood and canvas or cloth, that kind of thing. Some that are where the building itself is made out of vines that have been trained to grow up and over, as opposed to like a roof or a ceiling, that kind of thing. And you're pretty sure down at the far end, you see what's like a 1970s V-dub van. It's got the front is popped open, the engine chamber area is popped open, and it's got racks around it that look like racks of clothing, like you might find at a garage sale or a thrift store. Lots of different little shops. You see a couple things that you recognize from being here in the past. Over to one side, there's a shop with a big sign that says, "You know, we go." And there's a hobgoblin that's about 4 foot tall with 4 arms. He's wearing like a loose vest that all of his arms stick out. And you know that he's a gentleman that you've talked to in the past. His name's Wego. And he is a hedge guide, known for being able to navigate the trods very well for a price. You see a cart. It looks like a big pony cart. It's got all kinds of brews and potions and preserved foods and stuff outside of it. And there is a pony. Well, no, it's a Shih Tzu that's about the size of a pony, and it's purple, that is over near that cart. Seems to be doing some sort of brewing, even though it has paws rather than articulated fingers. And then Melusines' shop is one of the ones that's like stone to the top halves, and then a more temporary, and it looks like it has maybe even a cobbled down hut behind it, like a living space behind it. What would you like to look at first?
I'd probably be going to Milla.
Go to Melusines? Okay.
Yeah.
Melusines first.
Okay, fantastic.
Go straight to business. Let's go straight. Yeah, I'm curious.
Sounds good.
I also on my way past, I pat Ash on the shoulder and I tell him, "Well done. Like you're remembering stuff better all the time, buddy."
Oh. Did I remember to close the door?
somebody else is probably like, no, we always get the door.
I closed it.
Have the
I closed
iron
it.
on.
Yeah.
This is why we travel in a party. We got each other's backs.
Break up the party. Okay, so you go to Melusine's shop, and one of the things about Melusine's shop that's notable is it's one of the only ones that doesn't have goods up by their shelves. It looks like it should be goods. It looks like somebody just walked through and took everything off the shelves, but there's nothing there. There's never been anything there when you go to travel or when you go to visit with her, because she deals predominantly in information, and the tidbits that you've gotten from her so far or that you've traded with her have all been very much memory or information focused. When you come in, she is behind a low table. She's in her wheelchair, and she looks like she's been crying. She has, the red eyes, and she looks like she hasn't been eating well. She looks like a hot mess compared to last time you guys saw her. And when she hears somebody coming into the shop, she does the, oh, it's you. Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. You got here quickly. I wasn't sure the message was going to get to you so fast. Thank you.
Of course we came. I can't help but notice that something seems to be bothering you. Do you care to tell us what's going on?
Yeah, what's wrong, Mel? You need us to work somebody over for you? We're here for you.
I wish it were something that simple, Marlo. I really do. I know that were it someone who just needed a good trouncing, I could always count on you guys for that. No, it's something a bit more complicated, and I don't know who else to ask. You, from the first time we met, you've been very good about finding things for me, and I'm so very grateful. But the thing that I need found now is, well, it's going to be very, very dangerous, and you can't tell anyone where you find it because it's going to be even more dangerous for them. Have you heard of a Hera pair?
I mean, I probably have.
Oh yeah.
I
Okay, first dice rolls. Let's check this out and make sure that Ash has heard about these. Okay, so what we're going to have you do is, let me check and see if there is a particular roll for you to make on this.
Yeah,
Nope,
what would the roll be?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have you roll intelligence, and you can all roll this. Just Ash will have a lot better chance because of their specialties. So you're going to roll intelligence plus your occult.
Oh.
Okay. So that should give you a number of die. And
5
then
dice?
and you're going to roll that many die, and you're looking for an 8, 9, or 10 for a success.
It says that I have 2 for fey parts. Would that count?
Okay, so the things that are in parentheses on your skills are specialties.
Oh.
And what those do is, if that applies to a given situation, you will you could apply a 1 die bonus. So for example, Ash has the ability occult hedge plants. We're talking about a hedge plant, so it very definitely applies here. So Ash will be rolling 4 intelligence plus 1 occult plus another die, so for a total of 6 for the hedge plants. In this case, were we looking at something that was derived out of changeling parts,
Gotcha.
Body parts or something? That would definitely apply, and you would do your intelligence plus the 2 points you have in occult plus the 1 for your specialty. So, but not in this particular case.
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
Worth the ask.
And then just hold up how many? Chad's like, none.
Nothing. No.
That's a 1.
It's 8, 9, or 10.
8, 9, or 10, and then 10s explode.
So
Holy
just
cow.
do I get exploding on botany rolls? No, that's only stealth. So 3.
3 successes, fantastic. And Jeff, you had 2. And Dan, I'm sorry, I didn't see how many you had.
I actually got a 3.
Fantastic. Okay. So most of you guys have heard of Haripairs. They're a near legendary goblin fruit. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups now.
That's why we have drinks.
Exactly. They're a near legendary goblin fruit. Because, and I say near legendary because everybody's heard of someone who knows someone who has seen a Harapair, but almost no one has actually seen them. They don't grow. Most goblin fruits grow in the hedge, just wild. You'll find them whether they look like a grass or a fruit or a thorn or a berry. You'll just find them growing. So they'll be like a blackberry vine looking thing, and then there'll be a watermelon hanging off of it or something like that. But Haripairs only grow in what is rumored to be the center of the hedge, which nobody really knows because it doesn't follow any mundane mapping. So nobody really knows what center of the hedge means other than it's really close to the places you don't want to be. Yeah. And their Haripairs are not transportable. No, that's not the right word. Transport. What do you call it when you move?
Perishable?
What do you call it when you move a transplant? They're not transplantable. Like, what do you call it when you move a plant? It's a transplant. Okay. They're not transplantable. They only will grow in the places that they grow. And there's usually only one Harapair on a given tree at any given time. Also, they're always guarded by really, really strong guardians. Usually hobgoblins, sometimes a crazy changeling will take it upon themselves to dedicate their life to protecting this one plant. Sometimes a weak true fae who's been kicked out of Arcadia for one reason or another may take it upon themselves to be a guardian. So you just never kind of know what you're going to encounter other than it's going to be strong. And it's going to be remote and difficult to get to. The good news is the reason why Haripairs are worth the bother is legend has it that consuming a Harapair will cure any disease. Any illness, any cancer, no problem. Leukemia, no problem. So anything fae magics that are physically wrong or a physically disease, gone. So they're kind of like the holy grail of goblin fruit, and everybody knows somebody who's gone on a quest for one, but none of you have ever seen one or even met anyone who's claimed to see one directly themselves. So Melusine looks at you guys and I need one. I've tried everything else. I need one and I can't get it myself. There's no way. I hesitate to even ask, and I wouldn't ask if it weren't a matter of literal life and death.
Whose life and death?
My granddaughter's. Before I left, before I was taken, I had a child. She was the apple of my eye. She was a beautiful, golden-haired, ringleted toddler. And when I came back, when I finally escaped, she was in her 50s. She was older than I am. Well, older than I feel. And you guys would know that time is wibbly wobbly when you're in Arcadia. Sometimes a day will pass in Arcadia and you'll come back to find out the decades have gone. Sometimes decades will happen in Arcadia and you'll come back to find out that 5 minutes have passed. So it's unusual, but it's nothing surprising. But she had a daughter, and She's 8 now. She's so like her mom. She's blonde, and she loves video games and to draw. And she is not going to make it. The doctors have said 3 months. I don't know what else to do. I've pulled all my strings. I've called in every favor. I can't even find someone who's willing to try. And I can't let her go without trying. I know it's not fair to ask of you. It's dangerous. But I have to try. Would you be willing to try to recover one for me?
I still don't understand what a Harapara is, but
out of game or in game?
In game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't. No, you have no.
I think that just to see one would probably be worth my time. That'd be a fun memory.
I think if I have to spend another night in the apartment sitting around with these folks playing a Street Fighter 2 tournament, I'm probably going to lose my mind. So let's do something dangerous. Let's go.
Pax keeps smoking my plants too.
I say we go for it. What could go wrong? Some of the worst mistakes of my life have been haircuts.
Loss is never easy, and
we all agree with that bad decision, dude. Let's yep.
Some of my best decisions or worst decisions have been haircuts. Yeah, that's going in the file.
Loss is never easy, and I can't promise that we'll be able to get what you're asking for, but it sounds like the crew is willing, so
I will do everything that I can to help you. I have a map, kind of. It can get you to the edge of where they're rumored to be able to be found. I'm afraid that I don't know what's guarding this tree. No one has been able to bring back an accurate report when they've gotten close enough to the tree to see what the guardian is. At least that's what we're assuming is happening.
Have you talked to Wigo about it?
I've talked with Wigo, and he's willing to take you to where the map starts. And then the map will take you a bit further. And from there, I'm not sure exactly what clues you'll find to bring you there. But Wigo can get you to where the map starts at least, and get you there safely. Is there anything else that I can provide for you? Do you need weaponry? Do you need armor? Do you need provisions? I don't know. How can I help?
Yes, please. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like all the above could be helpful.
Okay. She says, come with me. Come with me. And she rolls out from behind the table and starts heading towards the VW van that's at the far end of the thing. And as you approach, You can see that there is something inside the van. Looks like things moving underneath a blanket or something. It's kind of a big shape. And she is rolling with determination to get to this location. So there is definitely a sense of purpose to her movement. And she calls out. She calls out for Portia. And she's like, Portia, I have some business. And the movement from inside the Vita van kind of responds. And someone climbs out the far side, which is away from you, the sliding door. And as they come around the van to where you can see them through the racks and racks and racks of clothing, you will see that it is a spider that is about, it's down on all eight, but it's the top of its back is probably shoulder high on any of you. So it's a big spider. And she tamps on the ground. And as she's doing so, she kind of shakes herself as if she's remembering that this doesn't work for you guys, and manifests a voice that sounds very, very female, very, very soft-spoken. And she looks at all of you with like different of her eyes, and her face is facing towards Melusine, and she kind of does a little bow of acknowledgement. And, Melusine, how can I help you? And Melusine basically says, whatever they want, get them what they need. Get them what they need. So Portia turns and she's like, it's all on me. And Portia turns to each of you in turn, kind of looking you over, and says, how may I be of assistance?
I think I need a firearm, and my defense is terrible.
I see. So
a pistol preferred.
Some armor. I don't make weapons. Melusine will have to take you to someone else for that. But armor I can do. She kind of sizes you up. She kind of to the side, makes a gesture with one of her smaller legs to indicate that you should turn around.
Okay, I do so.
And and do you want predominantly to be protected from sharp attacks, from intrusive attacks like firearms, or from bludgeoning type maces and sticks and that rocks and that sort of thing?
Are there wild beasts out here, like in the hedge? Is that something we need to be? Okay, yeah, something that'll keep me from getting, clawed and bitten. Would be just fantastic.
Oh, yes. So something that causes the claws to slip right off of you, rather than being able to reach in and pull out your delicate vital organs. Yes. Do not need others turning your vital organs into goo. No, that won't do. And you look, yes, that'll do. And she turns and she goes over to the one of the racks, and she sorts through things with one of her paw teeth, whatever you call that on a spider, little manipulator at the end of the foot, and she pulls off what looks like it's like a medieval tabard, kind of. It doesn't have sleeves, but it's like a vest-like thing that you'd put over your head. It's black, and it's got a big like flame shape on it, in like an orangey red. And she kind of hands that over towards Marlowe, and then she looks at hands that over, towards sorry, having trouble keeping the characters straight here at the moment, towards Alex. And then she looks Marlowe over and kind of nods and pulls something that is it's like a doublet. It like laces up the front, so you can bring it in to suit your more slim size. And that is it's blood red, hangs almost to your knees, and it's definitely got the feel to both of the pieces, the tabard and the doublet. Is it's light, but it's super fine woven, like the individual string, the individual ply in the cloth is super thin silk, and you can tell just by running like your fingernails across it that the friction just wants to, like, everything wants to just fall away from it. And she looks, she gestures for the two of you to try these on. They should protect you against stabby, slashy kind of things. So you guys, if you decide to take them, just remember, if you come to a place where we're doing defense, they're each going to give you a +2 on your defense.
Okay.
And then she looks at the other three of you. Would you like something similar, or is there something else that I can help you with?
I would love something to keep me like safe, as well as to heal those around me.
In terms of healing, I would definitely go speak with Persephone. She nods towards the giant Shih Tzu. I don't have anything that can protect those around you without actually, I mean, I could give them armor too, but none of my wares have a supernatural aura about them. But she pulls out what looks to be like a tunic. It's got long sleeves, very kind of loose, voluminous, almost like an Arabic style over tunic, kaftan kind of thing, all done in just a beautiful gradation of grays and whites. It seems like it almost forms some sort of a pattern, but the more you look at it, you just can't quite figure out exactly what it's supposed to be. She pushes that towards Gray, and she looks at Ash and kind of shakes her head, and she's like, "You try this." And she nudges around in a chest, and she pulls out what looks to be a helmet. It's very simple, and it's made of silk as well, but the silk has had something spread on it that has kind of hardened it into place. So you can tap on it like a pot helm or that sort of thing. She says, "It's the person, I didn't make this one. The person that traded me for it claimed that it was very good at helping with finding your way in the hedge, and it seems it rings right for you. Would you like to try it on?"
Okay, I try it on.
Okay.
It's a bit itchy.
Perhaps a quoit underneath it, and she pulls out from one of the smaller drawers just a little. It's basically like a bonnet kind of thing over that you put on over your hair and underneath the thing. That'll keep it from irritating, I think.
Thank you.
Of course. And finally, she turns to look at Pax.
Porsche, was it?
Portia, yes.
Portia. You may have noticed I don't wear much clothing. I'm not wearing a shirt now. Do you have anything that might help us in the hedge that's not too much? Too much of anything.
Let me think, where did I put that? She starts looking through. She's got this little chest of drawers that's got a whole bunch of tiny little drawers in it, like a library card catalog kind of. And she comes out with this scarf that it's probably like 7 feet long, 6-7 feet long. It's very, very light. You can barely feel it in your hands. And it's embroidered with a beautiful, beautiful rose pattern that kind of just drifts all the way along it, and it's got fringe at both ends. And she says, this will not protect you a great deal. The bites, the slashes, they will still touch your skin, but if it is tied over a wound, it will make the wound heal twice as quickly as it normally would. Is that something that suits your needs?
Perfect. Because my dear, violence isn't always evil.
No.
What's evil is the infatuation with violence.
Which you also have.
Which this bandage will cover.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Yes.
way to go, Ash. Way to go, dude. That's poetic. Can I go get a gun now?
Yes. So you among the other locations that you guys find, there's a place that just seems to deal in trinkets and gewgaws and little decorative bits, cups, plates, things that hang on your wall, little lanterns, all that kind of thing. And then there is also a specifically weaponsmith in one of it looks like one of the stalls that they probably come around every 6 months or so, as opposed to a permanent kind of thing. They've got a little cart that carries their wares, and it's all like flipped out to display things, but you can see easily how it would flip back in, and without having to like repack everything up by hand, the display would just like fold back in on itself for easy transport. And he has a wide range of bludgeoning weapons. He has several long, varying in length from a saber all the way out to like a very, very long, like claymore style sword. And there are a couple of what looks to be firearms. None of them look like they were human made, though. They're very definitely, like, one of them looks like it's, for all the world, like it's been pulled together out of bamboo and vines wrapped around it. And one of them looks like it's been carved out of a piece of marble. They're obviously gun-ish looking things, but this is no Smith and Wesson, no Colt kind of thing.
Right. So I'm looking at my sheet, and it says specifically pistol under firearms. Mm-hmm. It also says like I have a decent score under brawl and weaponry. Does that mean like brawl is without a weapon, and weaponry could be anything?
Yes, exactly.
And,
so
okay.
Brawl is unarmed, or if you're an animal, it might count your claws. Weaponry is using anything that is a hand-to-hand weapon. And then firearms is anything that involves either guns or ranged weapons like slings and that kind of thing. That's roughly where those go. You might find something that kind of falls between the layers, but most things fall in one of the three categories.
All right. I'll ask if I can have the bamboo pistol, and anything that looks like a quality thing that would fall under weaponry.
Okay. Well, lots of pretty much all of the swords, weapons, that kind of thing do. The person who is running this cart looks to be a child of about 8. But when they talk like they're, you know, a well-spoken adult. So the bamboo gun, that one works really good when you're out in the hedge. It gives you bonuses to shoot things specifically in the hedge area. The marble one, it hits a little bit harder than the average gun does, but you have to feed it these special bullets, and it's got a little box, and you can hear the bullets rattle together, and they sound like they're made out of marble too. What are you? I can help you find a weapon, but it would help me if I knew what you were gonna fight.
I wish I knew.
Oh. Well, if you don't know exactly what you're going up against, then it's a good idea to have a general thing. I found that, well, let's see. Could you hold your arms out this way? I need to see your span. Okay. And that compared to your height. Okay. I try out this one. And the child picks up one of the swords. It's not the fanciest sword by any stretch of the imagination there. It looks for all the world like a cavalry saber. It's got a tarnished bronze hilt with a tassel hanging down from it, and the blade itself looks like it hasn't been upkept very well. It's kind of got little tinges of rust and tarnish on it and stuff. And they say, I know it doesn't look like much, but it's real sharp. Be careful. Don't swing it to see how the feel is for you, but don't hit anybody because you won't like it. So they hand you the saber, and it adjusts itself to your hand. Like you can feel the first couple times that you're moving it, like it's adjusting itself to your arm length and your musculature. And within about 3 times of kind of flicking it back and forth, it just lays in your hand like it was made for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great.
Of course. Be careful because there's only like 6 bullets in there, and that's all. I don't know how to get any more, so you might want to be careful about that. And so the bullets will give you a +1 to hit if you're in the hedge, and the weapon does an extra point of damage if you're able to hit something with it. What about the rest of you? Does anyone else need weaponry?
I definitely want to get a blade. Yeah.
A blade? Okay. Let's see. Well, okay. Okay. The child looks at Marlowe. Says, okay, you're obviously trained in this. So I have 2 options that might work well for you. Do you want to use both hands or just one?
Oh, 2-handed, please. Yeah, I want to cleave something in twain.
Okay. You like cleave. Oh yes. Oh yes. I have something special. And they go and pull something out of a box in the wagon and bring it to you, and it looks like a butcher's cleaver that's had a good 1.5 foot long handle put onto it, so you can use it as a small chopping weapon. There is blood still dried on the surface of the blade, and they hand it to you, and they're like, don't worry, I've cleaned it. That just keeps coming back. I think it's part of the thing. I call it the chopper.
Nice.
And are there? So basically, each of you will get a weapon that suits your particular fighting style that will give you a little bit of a bonus to do damage when you do. If you would prefer one that makes it easier for you to hit, you can choose that option instead. But you basically, the salesperson is able to give you guys each something on Melissane's bill that will give you just a little bit of either better to hit or better to do damage. If there's if there's anybody who doesn't want a weapon, like let me know so that I can get you outfitted with something else.
I'm not the biggest fighter, but I find that it usually helps to have something to fall back on if you find yourself in a pinch.
Yes, yes.
Something not too heavy. I was thinking maybe a hammer that has a sharp end.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, oh, yeah. Oh, oh. Their eyes get real big and they go skirtling around and they come out and they're digging through things like a screwdriver, what looks like a drill, except it's like got vines instead of the electrical cord. And they come out with this hammer, and it's a typical claw hammer. It's got very, very sharp, the back part of it. So it's got the claw here. It's got, those are very, very sharp. They're like, don't ever bother using the front part of it. It doesn't, what it does, it doesn't actually hit that hard, but it's really good at removing someone else's weapon. So if you're trying to disarm somebody or block with it, it does really good there.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much. Do you have any sort of like belts that I could carry it with?
Sure. Okay. And they bring you out something that looks like a tool belt. It's obviously not designed to be a scabbard or anything like that. You now look like Joe Carpenter. Okay.
Just a big long stick for me.
Okay. Do you want this one? And they have a stick that's like been wrapped around it's obviously just made out of a whittled branch, but around the cap and the butt of it has been like dipped in liquid metal. So it's got a little bit more heft to it.
Seems good.
You can use it as a walking stick too.
Oh, thank you.
It can be nice when you're going through the parts of the hedge that are a little hard to get around. And speaking of which, Wego comes running up to you guys once he notices you at the weapons cart across from him. And he's like, my friends! Melcine says we're going to go, yeah?
I just have to go see Persephone really quick.
Okay. Okay, and then we go?
Yes.
See Persephone, then we go. Okay, yeah, make it quick. Gotta go, gotta get back.
Of course.
And Persephone, at the sound of her name, kind of turns. Big purple Shih Tzu, eyes, bangs over her eyes. I have heard from Miss Melusine that you're in need of provisions for a quest. A noble.
Yeah. I fancy myself a bit of a healer. Do you have anything that I could help keep my comrades alive?
Of course. For friends of Melusine, of course. And she points out a couple of small vials, about yay big or so, maybe hold like an ounce or so of liquid. And they're all kind of in like a light green color, different shades of a light green. She says you can have those 3. They'll all slow down or stop damage that is continuing to occur, or if the person is not suffering from ongoing damage such as poisoning or bleeding out wounds, then it will just do quite a bit of healing for them.
Sounds useful.
Yes. And Wego's like bouncing around. He's like, now we go?
Yes.
Now we go?
Thank you very much, Persephone.
Yeah, Persephone time. Now we go time. We go time is my favorite time. And Melusine sends you off. She takes a piece of ribbon that it's like a blue-green wave pattern woven into it, and she gives it to each of you, gives a length of it to each of you, and ties it around your wrist. And she says, it's for good luck. I wish I could do more. If you return with it, I will owe you each great debt. And you can kind of feel the shiver in the air as her promise to do well by you if you succeed in your quest kind of solidifies into the air. And Wego just starts heading off outside of town. He's talking as if someone is right beside him the whole way. Just, okay, now we're going to go. Wego knows right where we're going to be going. We don't even have to slow down. It's fine. It is fine. Oh, and Melusine also slips you a scrap of parchment that has graphic stuff drawn on it that should act somewhat as a map.
Gotcha.
But we
So nothing explicit.
nothing really. It's all relational. So it's all start at this hovel, go 400 paces as the crow flies towards the rising sun, kind of thing. So from here, it means absolutely nothing to you because you don't know where the hovel is. You don't know where the sun will be rising at that point. That sort of thing, but it's definitely got directions on it, just none that actually have any context for you at the moment.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I'll snatch it. I'll snatch the map.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, Wego leads you off through the woods. You go off through the hedge. He keeps for the most part on the trod that leads out of town. You go for maybe 10-15 minutes at a pretty good, not a running pace, but an enthusiastic explorer pace, which Wego definitely is. And then there's like a turn off that you guys would have just gone right past it if you hadn't. It's a like a deer track level stuff, and it angles back like at a 45-degree angle. So like you guys would have just kept going past it unless somebody was looking back the direction you came. But he leads you off that way, and you continue on through the thorns. It's much once you leave the main trod, it's creepier. It just feels darker. The sun is starting to set, but that's not the only thing that's going on. It's obvious that the environment here is just a little bit more hostile, or at least non-neutral than the trod was. The trod feels kind of like being in an abandoned building, or an empty building, like an office building after it's closed. And once you get off onto the track, it's more like that house that the neighbors moved out of 5 years ago and nobody's been living in since then, and nobody's exactly sure why they moved out or why nobody else has moved in, but it's kind of like the place kids dare you to go. That's the kind of feel that you get as you're, and it gets stronger and stronger the deeper you get. He leads you off on a couple of other little turns and tracks where the road continues to get narrower and narrower until eventually you're walking single file behind him, because there's the thorns are close enough to bump your elbows on each side as you walk. And then eventually he leads you to a small clearing. It's maybe 10 by 10, not big at all. But he stops, says, "We're here."
Well, that was quick.
Hey, well, this is the part that I can get you to. And he points out points to one edge, and you can see just a little bit further on, there's a broken down building. It's one corner, the roof is caved in. The building itself is only about as big as like a bedroom would be. Obviously nobody's been living in it for quite a while. And he says, that is the hut on the map. And he kind of vaguely points over towards Ash. He's like, they got the map, so there you go, and now I got to go back. Okay,
safe travels.
Okay, you too, good luck. And he disappears, like, you can hear him take about 5 steps further while he's still going, goodbye, good luck. And then it's just poof, like silent, like he's melded into the woods. So
as the guy who likes to understand all the game well that he's playing, I've mapped out everything I could comprehend that Wego led us through.
Okay. Wonderful. So you've got a pretty basic map of how to get to this hovel, this little clearing here. You know that if the longer you wait before coming back, the more likely that those paths up to the trod won't be there anymore. But you're pretty sure that, like, at the moment you could probably work your way back if you tried. And, you know, in a couple hours, you would have a chance of finding it. You know that if you wait too long, you might as well just try and find that main trod, because finding the deer tracks are just not going to be feasible. So do you start trying to interpret the map?
I would like to see if I can use my primordial voice to talk to either the plants that are around us to figure out what's gone around, like what's happening, what's going on in this place, or maybe have them give us a good sense of direction.
Okay, fantastic. And you are using your contract. So this is the first time any of us have been using contracts. So they're on the back page of your character sheet. And as you look at them, they'll have the name of the contract. They'll have a general description of what they do. They'll have the cost, which is pretty self-explanatory. The dice pool that you'll roll to try to activate it. The action, these are almost all going to be instant unless they're reflexive. Basically, instant is just like a normal action in D&D. Reflex is something that you do in conjunction or at the same time that you do another action. Like if you attack someone, some contracts may be reflexive and may make you hit harder for that one swing. And then there's the catch. And the catch is kind of interesting. The catch is a workaround to spending the glamour for that skill. So if you can activate the catch or have activated the catch, then you don't have to spend the glamour, or sometimes there's willpower to activate that contract. So with primordial voice, the catch is make an offering to the element, water plants, weed the area, that sort of thing. Would you like to do something to complete that catch?
Yes, but it's not exactly PG-13. Well, it's a little under PG-13. I'm gonna ask everyone in the party to just turn around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just everybody turn around. We've been walking for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I mean, water's water, right? Especially to a plant. Excuse me.
Not true, but okay.
Okay, so I assume everyone turns around to give Ash a little bit of privacy as they water the plants. Fantastic. Well, you did make an offering to the element, and now you're going to need me to roll me a socialize plus weird. So your weird is on the top of your back sheet of your character sheet. You guys all just have a weird one because that's where it starts for low level characters. And your socialize is
also one.
Also one.
Also
okay.
One. 2 dice.
2 dice. Let's see. Do any of your notate again? Stealth or survival? And nope. Okay. So go ahead and roll 2 dice. You just need to get 1 success.
Okay,
Can we
I got
help
it.
him out in any way? Like,
yes, so you can. There is a way that you can roll to assist. Basically, you're going to have to forgive me. I don't have that mechanic memorized, and being so he got a success, I'm not going to look it up right now if that's okay. But there is a method by which you can basically lend successes. Also, another thing that you can do is you can spend. At this level, it's just 1 point of glamour or a point of willpower to increase your dice pool by 1. Oh. So those are other options that you can do to manipulate your dice pool if you need to make it better. Okay. But you did get 1 success?
Yeah, 8 and 3.
Fantastic. Okay. So now you can ask about anything that occurred in that area in the last day. More successes increase how far back you can go. Lasts about 5 minutes. So you've got about 24 hours worth of plant memory in this area to ask them about. And please feel free.
So I'm just trying to correlate with what, is in the map. And I'm going to talk to these plants and I'm going to see anyone come through here in the last day? Have you seen anyone?
Yes.
Oh, where did they go?
One of them went that way, and there's like a rustling back in the direction that Wego went. And the rest of them are still here. Very,
very literal plants. Excellent. So no one's been here other than us in the past day.
Not people, no.
Oh, goodness.
Hey,
Any suggestions, folks?
any fae or
True.
Or beasts.
yeah.
No, people don't. No, people don't come here often. And when they do, they usually don't come back.
What way are they usually going when they don't come back?
Either way.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of a hair repair? I don't know if the plant would know, but
Let me see. What does plant know
Yeah,
about
obviously all plants know each other.
plants?
That's
Jeez, Ash, you
I
can't
have a
ask
friend
that.
who lives in Chicago. Maybe you know them. Oh, okay.
That is very speciesist. Oof, I'm
Okay.
red in the.
Not even in the right genus. Come on.
Exactly. Strangely enough, there's a sapling growing in and amongst the brambles here, and at the sound of hair, the sapling kind of trembles. It's almost like someone kind of raising their hand.
oh, yes, the birch.
I've heard of them.
Oh, and have you seen one ever? Or
No. I've never. No, they don't grow here. I mean, not here in the clearing.
we
This
have
is-
to go deeper into the hedge?
I they're not here in the clearing.
Oh,
I love plants. I walk over and take the map from him.
okay.
Like,
We do have
Ash, I love
the
you, man.
magic. We do have the magical helmet to take us into the clearing.
Yep.
So yeah, if you ask around, eventually you find out through just a series of, oh, that was a no. Okay, that was again a no. You'll eventually find out that this area is very rarely frequented by humans or hobs. That's why the tracks are so narrow. This little hut probably was established at some point as someone's hollow, but they've long since abandoned it. You will find that there are the plants will let you know that there are things that come through. Sometimes they hear one thing chasing or some things being chased by other things, and the other things howl and make loud noises, and then the things that are being chased also make loud noises, but they're more like ah,
Yeah.
and then they stop. There's they let you know that the only thing that really comes through here very often are birds. Sometimes like little squirrel analogs, kind of live in the area and stuff, but nothing very big. They don't like it when the big screaming birds come. They don't like that at all. Everything hides when the screaming birds come. But that's about all the information you get out of it, and it takes you a good half an hour of roundabout questioning and answering to get it, because plants are just, they're very plant focused.
Okay, so I guess we move in the direction that this map is going to be taking us.
Okay. So what I would like from you all is let's see. It seems like thinking on your feet to interpret this map. You can give me either intelligence or whichever one you think better suits your character, whether your character is more like book learned or whether they're more like think on their feet. And then we're going to do an investigation. So either intelligence plus investigation or wits plus investigation. to try to interpret the next step on the map and get to the next little jump of where we need to be.
Does the hat help at all?
Could you remind me? I'm drawing a complete blank on what I told you the hat would do.
Just you said it helps us find our way in the hedge.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, give a +2 bonus to your anything where I'm telling you you're navigating through the hedge. Go ahead and put a +2 bonus on that.
What happens when I get a 10?
You get to keep that as a success and roll it again to try and get another success. And be sure and check your seeming blessing, seeming curse, kith talent to see that to make sure that there's no other bonuses that are appropriate for this situation.
I don't think so.
So I just got a 10 and then a 10.
Okay, so that counts as 2 successes
3.
now, plus you roll another one. Wow! Adam, you're exploding.
Okay, that's a 7. And then on top of 3 more, so 6 of the 8 dice I rolled.
Oh, okay
Good
then.
you.
Right?
He starts to talk about the map in a way that seems really intelligent for a guy who forgets everything, and I humbly hand the map back to him.
Like, oh, okay.
Oh.
You done peeing on plants now?
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
it's all making sense.
Yeah.
I probably should have used the other contracts where I learn a pertinent fact about the local hedge. Probably would have been better than wasting time talking to plants, but this is a learning experience.
It happens.
I'm all about learning.
Powers are fun to try out.
Edge is eternally like confusing. So.
Exactly. So yeah, dude, you sorry about that. I completely lost names again. Ash is just like turns the map, turns it this way a little bit, turns this way, flips it over completely, holds it up to the sun and goes, oh yeah, I know where we're going, and just leads you like they do not even hesitate leading you on to the next landmark. You come to this creek that has a fork in it, exactly where he says they say it's going to be, just like spot on.
It's my thinking cap.
Yes.
At this point, where the creek is, the hedge has, in a lot of places that you've been walking, been almost umbrella-like a canopy overhead. You can see the sky through it and that sort of thing, but in a lot of places it's been almost like a jungle canopy. But here, when you come to the creek, it is there's no trees or brambles growing over the creek as it passes back and forth, so you can actually see around you a little bit more here as you get ready to cross the creek. And there are birds that seem to be hanging around in this area with the creek and the water and that sort of thing. You see what you think is a fish in the stream going by before you get ready to cross it. But it's really long, like it's underwater like a fish would be, but it's really, really long like a serpent or an eel or something, even though this is freshwater. Yeah, and Gray is just on a roll. Like they take you over the creek.
You mean Ash?
Sorry, Ash is on a roll. They take you over the creek, start down the next pathway, doing really well. All of a sudden, you guys hear this sound from overhead that sounds like a woman screaming in the most scary and angry way. I mean, this is Karen times 10.
I talk to your manager?
It's not making any words, but the intent is very much like it's just a horrible, horrible, shrieking, shrill sound. And luckily, it doesn't seem to be really close to you, but it is definitely more in the direction you're going than the direction you came from. Would anyone else like to do anything before we go any further?
We do like a perception check or what here?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. We can all do perception checks. Okay, so perception is going to be your wits plus your composure. It's one of the few roles that's actually 2 attributes as opposed to like an attribute and a skill. So if everyone wants to roll me their wits plus their composure.
Does anybody remember what the plants said about the shrieking birds?
I don't believe they said anything about shrieking birds, so.
Yeah,
And everyone avoided the shrieking birds.
Yeah,
I
could
think.
we hear the plants, or was that only him?
Well, I guess that depends upon whether he would have like repeated what they said. So, and that's totally a choice that I'll allow that player to make.
I feel like that it took me so long talking to these plants. They were just like, oh yeah, they told me about these terrible things that might come, and you know. But at the very least,
4.
Oh my goodness.
0.
2 10s and a 9 and a 9. Wow.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna go to Adam's house and steal his dice because obviously these were made to play Lost.
Right. I got 2.
Can't see him on screen. My various treasures.
Right. Okay, so how many successes did y'all get? 2, 4, 0, 0. Okay. So Marlo and Pax, I don't know what you guys are involved in. Maybe you're having a side conversation, but there's a lot of brambles around. There's that tree, the creek. Yeah, definitely noticed the creek had water in it. Mm-hmm. The rest of you notice that once that shriek came about, all of the birds that were gathered around this area are gone. Just poof. The shriek. Oh, go ahead.
I would also like, I don't know, since we're running on time, we might as well do some of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to do baleful sense and spend a glamour to see the greatest source of wrath nearby.
Sure thing.
Use.
So use your wits plus your weird. So your weird is 1. Wits are 3.
1 success.
1 success. Okay. Yep. So you spend a point of glamour unless you're angry at the moment. I'll let you decide that factor. And yeah,
I did start with saying I'm always quietly angry.
You did say that. That is very true. Are any of you folks actively angry at this point? No? Okay. Then you definitely get the sense that within a mile. Okay. You definitely get the sense that there is a single source of absolute wrath going on. It's close to the perimeters of how far you can reach. Like you're getting the feeling that the sensing you're getting from it is at quite a distance, but it's not beyond a mile because that's how far you can basically reach. And it's one individual. Does not appear to, the feeling is very, it's definitely got some human elements to it, enough that you can really recognize it as anger as opposed to like fear or hunger or an element that you'd be getting from like a completely natural animal. Mm-hmm.
Is it up or is it like on ground level?
Yeah, it seems like it might be up.
Okay.
It's it's only a mile away from you or so the elevation is not super like it's not like skyward or overhead, but yeah, it definitely doesn't feel, unless maybe there's like a really tall tree or a mountain or a hill, something up here that you're not actually getting your eyes on yet. It seems like it might be upwards. And
I just communicate that she's angry, fellas, really angry.
I do have sense element plants as well. Okay. And that goes for about 30 yards.
Okay.
And I'll just use a glamour for that because I don't think we've got 10 minutes.
Okay, and you're using that to what are you trying to?
I'm trying to sense this hair repair. I mean, we've gotten pretty
okay.
far.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it is. There is nothing that feels like a hair repair or what you imagine the hair repair would feel like within 10 yards of you.
Okay.
And
Now
you would.
Oh.
So with insight.
Marlo is just like, can somebody please get me to the point where I can shoot this thing, or maybe hit it with a hammer?
Yeah.
I'm swinging a
Right.
sword around the board, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's my turn yet?
Marlo, you take the lead. I'll take the rear. Something's coming.
Okay. So Ash has definitely like still knows where you're going. They just like, it's like they're in their backyard at this point. It's kind of amazing to watch them go from forgetful and stutter stepping where they're going to just like, oh yeah, no, it's totally up this way. And you continue on down the pathway. There is, you don't come across anything really remarkable. You find the landmarks on the map and that kind of thing. Up until a time where there is on the map, there's just a big blank space and there's an X in the center of it. And as you're coming up on it, you can hear the birds have started chirping back in the direction you were coming from, but there's none of them around you here, or none flying overhead or anything like that. And the closer you get to this X, the less you're seeing even of things like the little squirrel analogs or even insects and that sort of thing. It's just like as you're getting closer and closer to this X on the map, there's less and less things present in the hedge around you. Does anybody want to do anything else before you come up to the X?
I guess just looking around to see where the screaming might be coming from.
Okay. There was one very loud shriek when you were at the creek, the creek that went through, and you've heard it like a time or two since then. It's probably, I don't know, half an hour or so that you've been going through the woods since you left the creek. And you get you're just coming right up on where the X is, and something takes flight. So you can hear it like beating back the branches in the tree that it's launching out of. And something takes flight and you start hearing this shriek again, but this time it's just like you're still in the tunnel of the hedge, and you can see that there's an opening where it's opening out ahead of you, and there's a very large tree right in the center, but you're not going to be able to actually see the sky much because it's still canopying over you. You can see there is something up there that is it's big enough that you can see it without any problem as it's circling, but it's hard to get a good gauge of how close it is, how close it's flying. So it's difficult to tell how big it is without that perspective to compare it to.
I'd probably try to stick to the shadows.
So you've essentially got this tunnel leading up to a clearing, something flying overhead in this clearing, and a big tree in the center of the clearing. How would you like to proceed?
Cautiously.
And this is the thing, every minute or so, it's giving out a frustrated sounding scream. It's like it can sense you down there, but it just can't see you quite yet, but it knows you're there and doesn't like it.
Can we see the hair repair where that should be?
No, you can see the tree but how much of the tree, or you can see the lower trunk of the tree, but how much of the tree you can see is limited because you're looking out basically from this tunnel. So you can see that, but you can't see any. Start to see maybe the bottom of the foliage that forms the tree, but nothing specific from here.
Yeah.
All right, this is the deal. I'm going to create a distraction. You all grab the fruit, and then we're going to get out of here.
Don't be a hero.
Too late for that.
Born a hero.
No one's going to die here.
I'm not planning on dying. I'm planning on living.
Okay. As long as
And
that's the plan.
I have no intention of going for the fruit. I'm going to cover Marlo.
Okay.
All right, so I have an ability that lets me direct a target's wrath to something else, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to do that.
Okay.
But I mean, our plan is, I think, sneak as close as we can get, and once it's clear this thing is coming for us, I'll direct its wrath towards me, and I'll take off running. Maybe two of you grab the fruit, and then maybe two of you, shoot this thing from the back.
I also have that redirect wrath thing. Maybe if it gets too close to you, I could call it to me, and we could play a little pickle.
Ping pong.
Ping pong it back.
It's ping pong, buddy.
All right.
Just be like
curious,
Brooklyn, 1997. Yes.
Would I know any like flying creature, any fake creatures that scream?
That's a very good question. Let's take a look at that and see what an appropriate poll would be for that. Why don't you roll me either your intelligence or wits, whichever one is higher. And then how about, because we're in the hedge, how about occult?
Yep, that's what I was thinking. So that's a 3.
Okay, would anyone else like to roll something along that line too? Please feel free to do so, and hold up how many fingers you got in successes. Check your blessing and your curse and your talent to make sure you don't have anything appropriate.
Oh. Okay, that's...
Poor Alex. Alex is like, I got no clue. There's nothing for me to shoot here.
Nothing. Yeah, I don't see anything yet.
I got 3.
Gray got 3?
Yep.
Oh, okay, definitely. I am going to. Can you see the chat, Anders?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sending you a message that only you can see.
Awesome.
And then I started blasting.
Leroy Jenkins. When Ash realizes that is their alter ego.
It's like you're the one end, you're the healer. Leroy Jenkins is your complete antithesis. Yeah. You're just
dang it, Leroy.
Oh my god, I can't believe you just went in there.
Okay. So I've sent something to Anders. So what exactly is your guys' game plan at this point? Are you trying to sneak up to the opening? You're
sneaking.
Going and blazing?
Yeah. I think Marlo's going and blazing.
As close as we can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll give Gray a second to remember the things that he knew about the birds. Did anybody else get 2, 3 points on the...
What were we rolling? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, that's okay. Either intelligence or wits, depending upon whether you see your character more as a remembering on the fly or book learning kind of character. And then occult.
Occult, okay.
Yeah. So let me know if you got anything other than a 0. I know Chad once again got a 0.
just
0.
just a heads up, I'm pretty sure that those are Vile Strike. They're like harpies, and they will feed on your fear as well as your flesh. So yeah, don't get picked up, and because they will basically cook you and like hang you like a scarecrow.
Mm.
So
Lovely.
you say don't be afraid and then describe how we're going to die terribly.
I mean, you don't have to be afraid. Knowledge, just use that to be if you know what you're facing, you shouldn't be as afraid of it.
Just stick with the plan. Let's do this. We got 13 minutes.
Perhaps I should try to grab the hairpin because, well, I'm high right now, and I also am not afraid of anything. I have exposed myself to my deepest fears, and now they have no power over me. So I'll go, man.
Brilliant.
Okay, so Pax is gonna go for the hair hair.
Yeah, same. I have a Kith talent that allows me to not only 9 again on stealth or survival in outdoors areas, but I can spend a glamour to stealth roll and hide myself with foliage. So I'm gonna just try to like ghillie suit up and I'm just a bush, guys. Just a running bush.
Sounds fantastic. Okay, so let's do this. Chad, Jeff, and I think Anders, if I remember right. No, maybe not Anders. We're going to basically charge into the clearing. Ash and Pax are going to head right for the tree and try to find the hair. Gray, what were you doing?
I'm gonna try to creep along the side of the clearing.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Let's start off with the 2 fighters. You're gonna charge into the clearing. We'll roll the initial conflict between you and the bird and tell you what you see, and then I'll kind of switch over to the other 3 of you for your actions, and then we'll just kind of flip-flop back and forth, and we'll make sure that everybody gets their turns in. Marlo and Alex, you guys go charging into the clearing. What you see, and stop me if I'm tally-hoing inaccurately, okay? So you guys go charging in out of the tunnel. It's after dark here. You guys had set it out and the sun was setting. It's after dark, but there's a fairly decent moon overhead, and there is no light pollution in this area. So you've got a fairly good idea of what's going on in the clearing. There's a tree there that is probably at its tallest, maybe 20 feet tall. It's not a huge tree, but it's like a good size apple, pear, cherry tree. And all around it, the brambles have been pushed back, probably maybe 2-person arm span in each direction. So it's maybe, I don't know, maybe 15 feet, 30 feet all the way across, 15 feet on a radius. And all along the brambles in this basically bowl of a clearing it looks like there's something draping across the brambles, like somebody's thrown tarps or hoses or something like that on the walls of the brambles that make this clearing. And you can see the same sort of thing hanging down. It looks like there's vines hanging down from the tree itself, some of them almost all the way to the ground. Looks for all the world in the kind of twilight darkness like someone's hung like water hoses or that kind of thing in the tree. And as you come closer, you realize that that's not hoses. That's innards. That's people or what used to be people or hobgoblins or little rabbit looking things that have all just been torn apart and draped around on the bramble all around. The whole the whole clearing has a nauseating aroma of death and rot and awful. But you are steeled warriors, you know these things, and you charge into the clearing. Ahead or about overhead, the vile shriek shrieks, obviously has laid eyes on you, and shrieks out, you know, what it maybe is hoping is a get the hell out of my territory way, as it starts to descend. What do you guys do?
I cast Fickle Fate on it.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Fickle Fate, curse your target, but only once per hour or it backfires. Okay, spend a glamour. It just works. So the next action that the strike is at a -2 penalty, thanks to Gray's manipulations.
Oh.
What's for goodness sakes, Alex and Marlo, what do you guys want to do? Are you going to attack at this point? Are you going to get to a good defensive position?
What if go ahead, dude.
I'll cast Goblins Malignance. What's that word? Malignance. Goblins Malignance on it to target it, have it come at me, and I'll try and move away from Alex so Alex can get a good shot at it.
Okay. So you're gonna like split
I got my
to
sword
different
ready.
sides of the clearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so go ahead and roll me a manipulation plus persuasion. This thing is definitely mad as hell.
I rolled a 10. So I rolled a 10 and a 9, so I have 2 successes. By the way, I didn't get another 10. So.
Oh, did you roll the 10 again?
I did, yeah, and I was just a 2. So I have 2 successes.
Good. Okay, fantastic. That's all you need to start with. So this thing it's kind of starting to descend, and it very definitely like makes a wing bank and heads towards you.
I take a shot at it before it gets to him.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is that is Chad. There we go. So you are going to roll your dexterity plus your firearms plus your specialization for pistol will give you an extra die, and the fact that you had that marble pistol is going to let you do extra damage if you are successful in hitting.
Okay. Oh man, I'm glad I had a lot of dice. I got 1 success.
Got 1 success?
Yep. Okay,
fantastic. And then, so I am going to okay, so you take off a shot. You at this point, you're really kind of just firing against the thing's shape against the twilight sky. But you obviously hit it. There's a little shriek of almost like a bottle rocket comes out of the tip of the marble pistol, and it makes like this little white sparkling thing all the way up into the sky, and it makes just like a tiny little miniature firework when it actually impacts the vile strike. And in that light, you can see, I mean, obviously it hit, and some feathers and effluvia and that kind of thing like fly off of its wing. But the worst part about the hit is that it lights up this vile streak when the firework hits, and you guys can see that it looks an awful lot like that. It's got sharp, talony claws. It's got a very scary vulture-like head, super long talons on its hands and its feet, and it is roughly human-sized. So the wings, when it's trying to like backpedal because it's gotten hit, like it raises up dust and that kind of thing. You really can tell that this is a big and sturdy creature being held into the air. So Gray, you have taken an action. Marlo and Alex, you guys have taken an action. Pax and Ash, what are you guys going to do right now? You're going to look for the...
Yeah, so doing my best to hide.
Okay.
I feel like now would be a good time to sense plants.
Okay.
Sense elements. So precisely locate all plants within 30 yards, and I know, where they are and their shape. So I'm looking for something generally pear-shaped.
Pear-shaped. This whole situation has gone a little pear-shaped. Fantastic. Okay, go ahead and do your manipulation plus weird.
Wits plus wits.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it primordial voice or sense of elements that you're using?
Sense element.
Sense elements. Okay, so it's wits plus weird. I'm sorry. I was looking
wits
at last breath Isaac.
Wits. Okay. That's
Plot twist, it looks like a honeydew melon.
It said it looks like a pear. I want to go
with a pear.
All right. Just one. I got an 8.
Fantastic. Okay. So you definitely can tell there are, for the most part, what you've got in this area is just bramble. But there is that tree in the center is the hair tree. And you can sense that so the trunk goes up about 10 feet and then branches out into, various branches with foliage and that kind of thing. And it's not too far up off of the first branch that you're able to see it off to the right. Hanging down, it's probably 12 feet or so off the ground. If you were 12 feet tall, you could probably reach up and pluck it. But yeah, you can definitely sense it. And it feels really unique. Like you would know that sometimes when you feel goblin fruit, they feel differently than other things. It's one of the factors when you're sensing things that you can kind of tell the difference between hedge plants and mundane plants and that kind of thing. And this, like, if a hedge plant glows, this thing sparkles.
Hacks, I'm gonna need a boost.
I can do that. Yeah. So are we have creeped over to the tree?
Yeah, you guys can. Do you guys want to use this round to move to the base of the tree? Fairly ignored because the Shrike is pretty busy at the moment.
All right.
Let me see what their health is. Got that. Okay.
And you're a good person too, and you have a lot of good qualities. I want gifts as well.
Okay, so what?
This is the last night, guys. We gotta.
Yeah. I know.
Right?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Ash?
I was hoping that Pax would boost me up the tree so I can try to grab the hair.
Yeah.
But we were both sneaking over to the tree. I sensed it, and we're trying to sneak.
I was trying to figure out if there was a catch that you were enacting by telling him he was nice. So.
No, because I asked him to give me a boost, so I thought I'd give him one back.
Oh. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so while you guys are getting into position under the tree, the Shrike is headed right for, which one of you was it focused at? It was at you. Okay, fantastic. So this human-sized harpy-looking thing comes dive bombing into the clearing directed at you. So we are going to roll. I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll Brawl Claws. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. These things are pretty nasty. 9 for the claws. Okay, so it is going to come running or dive bombing down at you.
So this is where I say that I have bonuses to dexterity and dodge.
Yeah, you do. But you know what? It rolled 9 die and didn't hit with a single one.
Dang. Lucky.
Perfect.
So much for my monster. So it comes down. Obviously, something must have been thrown off a little bit by the bullet wound that it took to the shoulder. It comes down. You can feel its claws to grasp the corner of your raiment that Portia gave you, and just slip off.
Nice.
It's so it's so close, but does not do any damage to you whatsoever.
Oh, you know what they say, fate can be such a fickle bee.
Exactly.
Can I swing the sword at it?
Yes, you can, definitely.
That's blades plus what? Strength?
That would be blades plus strength.
Okay.
Weaponry plus strength. And then the bonus
weaponry.
that you got for your weapon, because I think yours was a 2-hit rather than a 2 damage, if I'm remembering right.
All right, wonderful. So that's 2 successes with a 10. So let me roll again. Just 2 successes.
Okay, fantastic. So, and then did you give yourself an extra die for the quality of the blade? Okay. So you reach up and you slash with that, because you had the chopper, didn't you? Yeah. So you and you catch one of its feet as it's reaching down for you and just chop all 4 of its taloned toes off on that foot, and it screams and beats its wings extra hard and is circling back up out of the clearing to take another run. Alex, if you would like, you can take another shot at it as it's circling past, kind of a circle of attack of opportunity, if you were. There is no such thing really in Lost, but it seems very appropriate, being so it can't really do anything to you at this point, and you're shooting a firearm. So
I got 4 successes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wowzers. It's not happy. You catch it in the same wing that your first shot was. And the first shot kind of went through the lower portion of the wing, so you got flight feathers and a little bit of muscle tissue and stuff. This time you catch it right in the shoulder area, and it just tumbles. It managed to catch itself just above the edge, the height of the trees in the clearing, and right its flight path for another circle. But it's obviously, you can tell, not only has this thing, as it circles back up, it's dropping. At first you think it's feathers or blood or that kind of thing. No, this thing is dropping vomit and feces on you, all on this area, to make it smell, if anything, worse than the rot did before. But it's obviously, you're definitely seeing blood dropping too as well. So it's not doing real well. Okay, Pax and Ash, you guys are, so Pax is giving Ash a boost up into the tree. Ash, you're tall enough at this point, you can get your arms over the lower branch, the one that the thing is out on. It's out a few feet out the edge of the branch. So are you going to just have him move you over to the point where you can reach the fruit itself? Are you going to grab this branch and shinny your way out, or how exactly are you going to approach this?
I am a not physically intimidating person, but I will try to, try to hoist myself up and maybe shimmy. How thick is this branch? Is it going to support my weight?
Well, let's see. You are playing Ash. You're an elemental wood blood. You've got a really, really good feel for plant integrity, being so you're kind of wood-blooded yourself, and you can tell you're gonna have to go, kind of cautiously, and it might bend down a little bit, but it's not going to snap off underneath you unless you do something dumb, or maybe Pax grabs your feet and pulls down on you or something. Not that he would ever do that.
Alrighty, so let's. Do I have to roll anything to try to shimmy over to get the pair?
Why don't you roll me a dexterity plus athletics? Add in anything appropriate that you might have.
Dexterity 2, athletics 1. Let's see. Nope.
Okay.
No. Oh, 19. Woo.
19. Okay. So yeah, that's all you needed basically. So you get out and you can get your hand on the pear, and it's like a pear. It's not quite ripe yet, so it's not going to easily pull off the branch, but you can pull it off the branch.
Not quite ripe.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, like an overripe fruit will be much less connected to the tree and like plop into your hand. But this is, you have to tug a little bit to get it off there.
Not quite right.
What?
Not quite right.
Not quite right. Okay. Fighter gentlemen, are you going to do anything else yet? This thing is coming back down and it is heading for Alex again. So he is still the focus of its wrath.
Towards Marlowe. Yeah. I was heading towards Marlowe before.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Marlowe.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just ready my blade to strike again and dodge if I need to.
Fantastic.
In this game, it doesn't appear that there's a movement speed, correct? Like,
you do have a speed, but we're working within such small areas that I'm just kind of hand waving it. You do, if you need to find out your speed, it is on the back page.
I won't call for its attention just yet because I got 4 more bullets and it hasn't touched him. So
there you go. Gray, what are you doing?
I want to use Witch's Intuition.
Witch's Intuition, okay. There we go. Witch's Intuition, learn one fear from the subjects are conscious. Okay, so give me a wits plus weird, and who are you using it on?
On the Shriek.
The Shrike? Okay.
Yeah.
And versus their composure. And their composure is, wow, 2? That's okay. They got no successes. So did you get at least one success? Okay, fantastic. Let me see what the power of that does. Learn one fear from their subconscious. Okay, so at this point, the mind, the fear center that you're tapping into is just almost overridden with equal parts territoriality, like these things are in my territory, they are a threat, I must destroy them, and pain, fear of death, because it's been so badly injured. So that's kind of where you're riding right now, is that center ground of territoriality, fear of loss of territory, fear of intrusion with fear of death.
Gotcha. Okay. Do I see that the hair pair has been retrieved?
Oh, you can, unless Ash has been hiding it in some way.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they were like behind the tree or something.
Yeah, they're just up on a branch.
Gotcha. Then in that case, I'll be like, hey, we should get out of here. It just doesn't want us in its face.
Okay, fantastic. What are the rest of you guys going to do?
Is it time to take another shot at it?
You definitely can.
Okay. I rolled and I got an 8 and 2 10s, but when I re-rolled for the 10s, I didn't get anything useful. So I had 3 hits.
That's still 3 successes.
Okay.
And it hits extra hard. Yeah, you knock this thing ass over tea kettle out of the sky. As it goes down, it is obviously dying shrieks at this point. It is unfurling every bit of vomit and blood and feces and grossness that it can on this area as it dies in midair and is just kind of spiraling with one of its wings completely decimated, until it hits the ground with just a sickening thump of a human-sized body landing from 30 feet up. And it continues to make little mewing, shrill, dying noises. But it's obviously not getting up at all. What would you guys like to do next?
I start moving toward the door.
Down.
Get down. Try to not fall out of the tree. Why don't you, just for funsies, why don't you roll me a Dex plus Athletics to make sure that you don't do anything silly falling out of or exiting from the tree, Ash?
Fun for you, yes.
Yes! Yay!
Let's see, Dex plus Athletics. All right.
Well, I seem like the kind of storyteller that would have fun with your pain.
That doesn't seem in line with Changeling at all.
Two.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Ash snags the tree off the branch, cradles it to their chest, starts inching back down off the tree, manages to kind of flip down like they're hanging from it from their knees, like kids do on the playground, and Pax like reaches up to give them a hand, and they just like flip back down to their, they use that as a fulcrum point and like flip back down to the ground. They make it look really, really easy. Yeah, and so they have the what?
Better than me in real life.
What? All of us. Okay, so Ash, you have the hair clutched to your chest. There's the dying strike over off in the clearing. Anders has Gray has been doing, reconnaissance, cursing kind of things to make sure everything goes well. Are you guys going to? Are you going to do anything before you take off, or are you just heading for the trail?
I think I'm ready to go.
Get out of here. Well, the trail is still gettable, right? Because it's going to shift.
Yep.
Yep, definitely. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. Fantastic. Okay. So you go. Who was it? Ash, was it also you that had the knowledge of the thing?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
The trail.
Yep.
And the map.
Let's. Whoever would like to try to lead their way out of here, give me either an intelligence or wits plus occult. Figure in any appropriate specialties or that kind of thing that you guys have. You're just going to try and, at this point, you're trying to get back to the next step, like basically back to the canal or the creek.
One success, got a 10.
Okay.
So intelligence or wits. So that I have intelligence of 4. Mm-hmm. Oh, plus occult. So that's 5. And then I get an additional 2 because of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
You can't shoot a gun.
Okay, actually,
I've had
I got
days
2.
like that. 2 successes.
Yeah, it was a 10, and I got an 8 off of it.
I got a 5.
Grace, like, don't worry, man. I got this. Ash and Alex and Marlo and Pax are all kind of like, oh, it's getting kind of dark. I think maybe it was this way. And Gray's just like, oh, nope, right that way. That's exactly the way to the creek. I can tell. I can smell it from here.
And I really don't want to be in the weird after dark.
So if you guys end up following Gray, they're going to just take you right back to that canal. From there, it's pretty much a hop, skip, and a jump back to the clearing that Wego left you at with the little hut and that kind of thing. And strangely enough, you hear a snoring sound coming from the hut. Are you going to walk past, or you're going to check it out?
Oh, you got to check that out.
Yeah.
There is, curled up in a blanket there is Wego. And he, when you guys approach, he like stirs up and he's like, Wego not sleeping. Wego doing reconnaissance.
Oh, totally, buddy.
Melusine said had to bring you back. Wego forgot, but Wego came back. So we go.
There you go.
We go.
You get fruit. Oh.
Show them the pear.
Oh, that's so cool. The pear is, if you can imagine, a pear made out of actual gold, but it's not like a, it doesn't look like a piece of artwork or craftsmanship. It looks like it naturally grew out of gold, including like the little blemishes, the little, like, you know how pears get those kind of like teeny tiny little dots on them and stuff. You can see and feel that. You can smell that it smells just like a just on the verge of being ripe pear, but it obviously it just looks like it's the entire thing's been gold leafed or dipped in liquid gold. And he's very, very impressed, and he keeps, as he's leading you back towards the goblin market, he keeps checking in with Ash. He like, you still got it? You still got it? You still got it? Okay, it's safe. Okay.
I'm gonna be like, I know it's really cool. We go. I'm thinking. I have this goblin fruit here. If I give it to you, will you? You can say that you saw it, but you forget who had it. Okay.
He munches the goblin fruit as you guys are going along. I don't know who had it, but I sure liked seeing that hair pear. That was pretty cool. We go best adventurer. But I can't remember who had it. You still got it? You got it? Okay. Can't remember who had it. Don't know. Wego thinks this is the height of humor. And he leads you back. You can start to see the glow from the goblin market before you actually arrive back to it. And as you turn the corner and can start seeing it, there are lots and lots of little lights strung up all over, but they're really weird because like some of them are like little flame candle lanterns attached to, you know, wires that run throughout the thing. Some of them are like torches that are attached to posts and that kind of thing. The most interesting ones move around a little bit, and as you get close, you can tell that they're actually like glowing photoluminescent bugs. Bioluminescent, yes. Like lightning bugs, but like about yay big, like clinging to the wiring, and every once in a while they'll move around a little bit. But the market is a little bit quieter at night than it is during the daytime, but it's obviously still going. You know, very few of the shops are closed up or anything at this point. Melusine is in her shop. Do you want to go there, or is there any place else you want to go first?
I think shop seems like a good plan.
No? Okay. She looks so surprised when you guys show up. Her eyes just get like the size of dinner plates. And she's like mentally checking, like, okay, there were 5 of you. There's 5 of you. Okay, none of you seem to be injured. You know, and she's waiting for you to come into the shop. She starts wheeling her wheelchair out towards the entrance, and she's like, "You're back. You're back. Are you all okay? Are you any of you hurt?"
It was easy.
It was easy. Oh, okay. They just went and got the hair repair. Sure, of course, it was just easy. Why didn't I think of that?
I mean, your friendship just means that much to us.
You gentlemen are fantastic. Each and every one of you individuals, I owe you literally a life debt. Can I see it? She like welcomes you back into the into the shop itself and closes a little cloth curtain that goes in front of it. It's obviously designed more for privacy than it is for security, because it's just cloth. But when you bring it out, because the shop itself is kind of covered on all sides and everything, there's just a couple little lanterns in here. It's almost twilighty inside the building, and when you bring the hair repair out, it kind of glows faintly, and she's speechless. And she turns and she goes to a little chest that she's got behind the table that she uses as a counter. She lifts the lid and she digs around it a little bit, and she sets some things to the side until there's 5 of them. And she flips a coin towards Wego, who's still at like Ash's heels, just like wanting to see it again and again and again. And he looks at Melusine and says, but I see the hair repair, but I have no idea who had it. I don't know. And takes Melusine a second. She's like, but okay. Good dealing. Good negotiation. She flips a coin his direction, and he takes off. And then she pulls out 5 little tokens, and she hands them out to you very solemnly. They're all on different sized pieces of string, and she hands them out to you as if she is the monarch handing out, the brass star, or and when you look down at them, you'll notice that they're a token from Starbucks that have the little 2-tailed mermaid on it, which is called a Melusine. She says, these are my personal tokens. If you turn one of these into me, I will fulfill your favor. You have
Thank you.
have saved my granddaughter's life, and I can never repay that debt. And she holds out her hand for the pair. And
that's when Ash remembers their backstory and just smashes it. No.
Ah!
Damn memories!
Right in front of her.
She takes it reverently and takes it back into the back, and she says, I need to get this to my granddaughter as soon as possible. I hope you will all forgive me if I must make my departure.
Of course.
And I ask her, I give her the token back, and I say, if there's any seeds left, I want them. Because there is a way to grow plants, from what I understand in this game. Specifically goblin fruits.
I will save the seeds for you. I must tell you that the legends say that herefruit cannot be propagated that way, but if anyone can do it, I believe that you can. So I will save those for you in hopes that you are able to accomplish a miracle, as you already have.
Happened.
Good idea.
Indeed.
Maybe you could save the skin too. We might try to smoke that later.
I believe that the
That's your
skin
token to give.
has to be consumed, but if it comes to be unnecessary in order to save her, I will definitely hold on to that for you as well, for your recreational research. We'll just call it that. And she very quickly grabs a bag that she's had behind the table, wraps the hair of fruit very carefully in multiple layers of cloth, and puts it back in the bag and says, I hope you don't mind, but I have to go. Thank you very much. And the next thing you see is her wheeling through the gateway back out into Central Park in your town, and the gate closes behind her. And you guys have all done really well. Yay! Thank you guys so much. This was really fun. You guys took these. One of the funnest things about seeing different people play these same characters week to week is seeing what different takes everyone takes on them. And you guys were just amazing. It was really, really fun.
Well, thank you. You were a wonderful storyteller.
What was that?
Yeah.
Some of the worst decisions in my life have been haircuts. That was so good. That was so good. Before we take off, is there any last minute questions that you have? Anything I can clear up, either about the story or about the game in general, or?
Is this World of Darkness, is this the same as the werewolf and vampire and all that?
It is, yes, but slightly different. The werewolf game that you guys played earlier was Werewolf the Apocalypse, which is part of the old World of Darkness, or the classic World of Darkness. There is a changeling that was part of the classic World of Darkness called Changeling the Dreaming, but it is a drastically different game than Changeling the Lost, which is part of the new World of Darkness. So there is a vampire in both, a werewolf in both, and a changeling and a mage in both, but they're very different games. So, yeah,
so
definitely.
What's the difference between the new and old
Changeling?
As much as I want to hear that,
you gotta
it's
go.
11:30.
Yeah, you're right.
I have 8 o'clock appointments, so I'm
Awesome.
going to go.
Fantastic. I am Jess at Jess Hartley on email and Jess Hartley on Twitter, Facebook, etc. If you guys have any questions later on, you need someone to bounce ideas off of or something like that, please feel free to get a hold of me. I am at your avail. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Bye,
It's
guys.
been fun, everyone.
It really
Cohort
has. Thanks,
7.
guys. Great to meet you all.
Bye.
Working with
Take care, guys.